Welcome to Rainbow Popcorn, where 2 out of 3 brothers review queer cinema and camp classics. Brought to you by Pride of Our Footscray and Superbia Cocktail Bar. Pride and Superbia make up the most inclusive venue in Melbourne. Head in for the drinks and the drag, stay for the party, and find yourself at Pride of Our Footscray. Hello, Brett.
Hello, Lee.
How are you?
I'm good. I did find myself at Pride of Our Footscray recently.
As did I.
It's a great night.
For my birthday. It was great.
Yeah.
I spent the whole night trying to buy the boss a drink because his birthday was a few days before mine.
Oh, right.
And so I was like, oh, I'm there. And he's like, oh, what are you here for? I'm like, oh, it's my birthday. So he bought me a cocktail and I tried a new one that I hadn't tried before.
Okay.
The Ruby Slipper.
Oh, yes.
Sweet raspberries.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
But then I couldn't find him for the rest of the night to buy him his own one. So when I am there next, which will be soon, I will make sure I buy a cocktail for him. Speaking of cocktails, you have invented a cocktail for the movie Red, White and Royal Blue.
Oh, God, yeah, I have.
That we are reviewing this week.
I don't know what to call it. It's some sort of mix of Texan and Royal Blue. Texan Blue.
Okay.
Because he's from Texas. He's Royal. They're blue. I don't know.
Royal Blue is a colour.
Yeah. So it's got tequila.
Uma Thurman is the Blue Party.
Yep.
Yep.
Tequila, Chambord Blue, Curacao, bit of elderflower liqueur.
To make it fancy.
And then some sparkling wine.
Yes.
Which you don't like.
The Prince would never drink Yellow Glen.
Whatever.
But that's fine. We are not royals.
No. We'll never be royals.
It's not in our blood.
It just does not run in our blood.
Yeah.
I can't remember any of the other
About
lines.
Crystal.
I am Lord.
Naked, changing in the bathroom.
Something on the
Tigers?
change on the train.
Tigers. We're sitting on the train counting the money that we have.
Yeah. Anyway.
There's something about tigers in there.
Anyway.
Lord Song Royals. Cheers.
Cheers.
In case you didn't get the reference.
Oh, no. Oh.
It's doable.
It's doable.
If you're a fan of bubbles, then, yeah. It's like...
I mean, it's all right.
Yeah, it's like champagne, but with stuff added. Which I know is what it is.
Not sure that bubbles and tequila go together well.
No.
Anyway.
Should we talk about the movie? So,
Yes.
For Rainbow Popcorn, we rate the movie based on a number of factors.
Yeah.
5 factors, in fact.
Yes.
And those 5 factors just happen to spell out the word pride.
All very convincing.
They are presentation, representation, iconicness, dialogue, and entirety. And we also talk about other stuff in the movie as we go. So, presentation. How do you think the movie looked, Brett?
I think for some things it looked great. Other bits, not so much.
Yeah.
I think, look, the opening shots were weird to me.
The opening shots.
So, it's like, we're here at the royal wedding, and here is our major news program that looks like its little graphics were done in Word Art or Publisher.
Yeah, it also looks like they sent a film camera to a news broadcast.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
TV news cameras look different in what they show than... Because they're transmitting. So they can't transmit as much visual information, live transmitting, as they can if you went there, recorded it, and then put it on a Amazon Prime live stream. That is a thing, yes. I agree.
Okay, great.
There are some parts that look really good.
I also don't like the credits. They do blah, 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 and then they fall in cake. Yeah. And then there's credits. I just didn't like him.
The stark colours of the credits.
Of being red, white, and blue.
Yes. That could be the book cover.
Yeah, maybe, but I didn't like it.
The book cover does look a bit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the book cover has a lot of pink on it, which is a bit gay. Anything that is inside and character-based looks great.
Yep.
Partly because it is filmed well, partly because they are two beautiful men.
Yeah.
So, Nick and Alex. Alex? No, Alex is his...
Taylor.
Thank you, character name. Are good-looking men. So, in terms of presentation, that's an extra point for me.
They good. And then the other extra point, and it is referenced by the thirstiest character in cinema history, Miguel.
Yeah.
You get a bit of points for his eyelashes.
Oh, that's literally in my notes.
Right.
In the presentation notes, I've literally written Alex's eyelashes. But then also, Alex often seems underdressed. And I know that's part of the character, to contrast his casualness against what the prince has to wear. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think it goes a little too far.
Yeah.
Then I wrote, speaking of underdressed, those swim shorts.
The swim shorts, when they're on that lagoony lake thing.
They are short.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. You actually get another point for that.
There is no complaint there.
No. It's a very good-looking cast, generally.
Yeah.
Except for Henry's older brother.
Yeah,
not the most
unfortunate.
attractive man.
Yeah.
But do you think that's a little bit like Harry's hotter than William?
Isn't that the result of inbreeding?
Yeah.
Isn't that a line as well? Maybe.
But then bad special effects. Most notably, something we've both written in our notes.
It's really bad.
When Alex is talking to his dad on the porch of the White House, and they've just cut out a bit of paper and put it on the back to look like the monument.
And then they've gone, just in case you forgot we're in Washington, here's the Washington Monument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same Washington Monument that they show a shot of when he's getting a blowjob.
Yeah. And then after another sex scene, they show a shot of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Erections.
Erections.
What they should have done is when they first have the proper sex, is had a little cut screen of Big Ben and the Washington Monument.
Oh.
Because there's two erections in that scene.
You'd hope so.
Stonehenge. As they said, Nelson's column.
Nelson's column.
As they also...
So inappropriate.
So inappropriate. And, like in so many movies, speak a little quieter.
Yeah.
Like, I know you're in a cafe in Paris where people may not speak English.
Yep.
But also, you don't need to basically say, I know your dick's big and has been in my mouth to the person that you're very, very secretly sleeping with.
Speaking of that, I was watching, this is a bit off topic, but similar. I was watching Ted Lasso, started rewatching Ted Lasso.
Yes.
And you know, in whatever season it's on now, too, Rebecca and Sam have, sleep with each other.
Yep.
And they, a thing.
Oh, Sam.
And then she's like, I can't keep it going, and she just keeps it secret. But then in her lounge room or whatever, at her dad's funeral, she's talking with her friend and Keely and someone else.
Yep.
And he's just like, I think I need to end things with Sam. I'm like, there's other people in this room.
Your whole family.
Yeah.
And your whole team.
Football club. Yeah.
Yep. But
Anyway.
they're so loud.
Yeah.
Even they're in that Prime Minister's dinner, the Prime Minister is just there, about to be introduced to you by your mother.
Yep.
And you're saying, I'm going to do very naughty things to you.
Yeah.
They don't lock that door. When he comes up to the room, they don't lock the door.
Afterwards.
Risky.
Also, how
Anyway.
did he just get up there?
Well, he's a prince.
You're going to meet me in my bedroom in the White House?
He'd be staying in the residence.
Yeah, okay.
He's a very official guest.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not in a hotel.
He's not
a prince.
Miguel for some reason who's there as well.
He's a prince, so he would be there would be levels of people that are staying in the residence. I reckon the Prime Minister and the prince would be staying in the White House residence.
Yeah.
They've got spare bedrooms in what is essentially, as the dad says, a palace. Another look thing, when they're first in bed chatting over speakerphone, they do look cute AF.
Oh, and when they're doing there's some good shots when they're doing like talking to each other and they're in the same room, but they're not.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And then, and that all ends up with them lying in the same bed.
Yeah.
Looking cute AF.
Yeah, about the turkey.
Gobble, gobble.
Jesus Christ. Oh.
But then to contrast Alex being underdressed, not actually to contrast, Stephen Fry looks like he's just wearing one of Stephen Fry's suits.
Yeah.
He doesn't look kingly enough.
What's he meant to wear a fucking crown the whole time?
But if you look at what the Queen wore, she was always like...
in a suit.
Dressed up.
She was always just in a suit.
I want to see what King Charles is wearing now. Not right now.
Suits. But just suits. If it's an official thing you dress up, they just wear suits. Have I said suits enough? Do you know who was in suits? Meghan Markle.
He's not wearing this kind of red thing that Charles is wearing in his portrait.
Oh, God, the one from Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Okay, maybe... I don't know. Maybe I expected some more kingly looks with the sash and the medals. Because Prince Philip, not the dead, real-life Prince Philip, within the story Prince Philip, Henry's older brother.
Oh, yeah.
He's always wearing like a something.
Okay.
Royally.
Yeah.
And then the king isn't.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
But I guess part of the point is Philip's a flog.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a part of it.
Yeah.
I did get confused a couple of times about where in the throne he...
Yeah, because then it was like, I thought that he was like
actor.
the king's son.
Yeah, I thought he was Stephen Fry's son.
But then his father was an actor that died, so he's the grandson of the king.
Yeah, when he says, I'm the spare, he's not even the spare.
Well, no, he is.
Oh, he's the spare when it gets to Philip.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to go from Stephen Fry to Philip.
No, unless the mum abdicates in whatever way they said.
It goes to their mum first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else about presentation?
Look, it's just there. There's some good shots. It looks all right. It's not like amazing special effects.
It looks like a well-shot TV movie.
Yeah.
I like the social media stuff that comes through. I think there's a good, kind of storytelling of social media and modernness, and it does kind of lend into their story being broken on Reddit and spreading really quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of that socials. So that's used to set us into a time of everything's online now.
Yeah.
And everything goes very quickly.
Right.
What would you give it out of 5 for presentation?
Maybe a 3.
I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Wow.
Well,
okay.
Because there's only a couple of shots where the effects look bad. And other than that, it's a well-shot movie. There's no really bad shots.
Yeah.
And it's full of beautiful people. So it presents well.
Actually, I'll give it a 3.5 for seeing his butt.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. You get to see a good amount of Alex with his shirt off too.
Okay.
Yeah. 3.75 for me, 3.5 for you.
Just for people, if this is the first time you've listened to us, we don't always rank presentation on how hot the people are.
We don't.
But it is an important factor in looking at the movie.
We don't always objectify lead actors in movies we watch.
But that's why they hired them. So
they are very attractive people.
It wasn't because of their acting ability. Not that they're bad. We'll get to it.
I'm going to speak about acting ability
at the end in entirety, I reckon.
Representation.
Oh, I skipped a bit. There we go.
It ticks a lot of boxes.
Yep.
Female president.
Mm-hmm.
Half Latinx son.
Yep.
Black bestie.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the granddaughter of the vice president, which implies that the vice president 20 years before this was black.
20 years before this?
Before this, yeah. Well, the granddaughter of the vice president.
Of the current vice president.
Is it the current vice president?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, yeah, because they're always old. But Uma Thurman's not old.
Kamala Harris isn't old.
No, granddaughter of...
Yeah. So
is it the current vice president?
The current vice president. Because then, when he's going to Texas getting up the votes, it's Thurman and... I forgot their name. Claremont. Claremont and Halloran or whatever her name is. So it's the current vice president.
Who's also a woman.
No, I think a man.
Okay, so they would be much older than Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
To have had Nora as an adult granddaughter.
Yeah, especially when she says, "We had you so young," to Alex. Or the dad says it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So Uma Thurman is a very young
president, yeah.
And then the vice president must be very old.
Yeah.
Jeez, why would you ever put a very old person in such a position of power in America?
I don't know.
What a decision to make. The UK Prime Minister is a woman of colour.
Yes, she is. I forgot about that. His equestrian is Indian?
The
person of colour.
The prince is very white, obviously. That's to be expected, and that's part of the thing because he has to show that tradition.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, though, being so... Oh, no, that's as well, yeah. The princess, heir to the throne, married a commoner. That's a thing in there of representation, I think, as well.
Yep.
And the president is working class. So there's all these things that they have to overcome in their life other than being gay.
There were some lines that were weird. We'll just touch on the fact that they're both straight in real life.
Yeah, I have a...
It's 2023. Or 2, whenever this movie came out.
I do find that interesting. Actually, Taylor hasn't said.
Hasn't he?
Taylor's not confirmed either way.
Well, whatever.
From all of my research.
They're not open. They're not out.
Yeah.
Nicholas however we're saying his name, has made a career of playing gay characters.
But he's also going to be playing He-Man.
Right? Is he? Well, that sounds terrible.
No, but I think and he's also played this definitely not Harry Styles in this movie with Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Age gap the movie, yeah.
So I think as much as we want queer people to play queer characters, probably.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be the only determining factor in casting.
No.
If these people are the right people, then they should be cast.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it says a big thing that Nicholas has played 2 big gay characters after playing 2 big straight characters because he played Prince Charming in the Cinderella.
Yeah.
And he played the football jock in Bottoms.
Yeah.
And
then he plays a bottom.
And then plays a bottom in Mary and George.
Oh, yeah.
But then he's going to play He-Man and has played a male pop star, straight pop star. So I think as much as we want queer actors to get the roles, I think it's come a long way from if you're going to play gay characters, you're just going to have to play gay characters.
Oh, yeah.
You won't then be believed in a masculine role.
Right. Well, we'll see how He-Man goes.
To be honest, there's a bit of homoeroticism in He-Man, and we'll see how that movie comes to be.
I think that overall it's like it does somewhat represent a story of struggles because they're queer.
Yep.
But because they're privileged, it's somehow it's not as relatable.
Yes. So
it's not an everyday normal people love story. Oh, I can't tell my mum because she's religious. I
can't tell my grandpa because he's going to kick me out of home.
Yeah.
It's
just because my home is Buckingham Palace.
I can't tell my grandpa because I have centuries of tradition bearing down on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Johnny in Beaumaris doesn't have that. I know why Bo Morris came to me.
I was going to say, I haven't heard of a movie called Bo Morris. I thought you were talking about somebody else. That was weird.
The general...
At least you didn't say Bo from Bo Morris.
The general queer person struggling with their coming out story or trying to find a coming out story to identify with is not identifying with it. But then in Love, Simon, there is not that kind of I'm worried mum and dad are going to kick me out of home part of it. That's not a worry of...
There is still of the...
It's a worry
I don't know how people will react.
And I think that's more a worry of things are going to change as soon as I say it rather than people won't accept me.
Right.
But this is people won't accept me. Although Alex doesn't seem to have any issue coming out when he needs to.
No.
He's just like, bang, here it is. And I'm also, without having talked to Henry, holding a national press conference confirming that he is
We'll
gay.
get to some dialogue with that.
There's a couple of lines, though.
Yeah.
One, actually, Nora is committed to getting female identifying candidates to Congress.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It's another positive of representation, but it's a thing. First 50 Rows of a Gaga concert gay.
Yeah, I didn't like
is
that.
how gay he is. But then I also thought people do say that kind of stuff in joking ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in terms of the representation, which kind of things with dialogue as well, when he tells Uma Thurman, that's good. Because she kind of says some things that like people need to hear. And said, you know, B is not a silent letter.
Yes.
But then later, when, let's say Uma Thurman's chief of staff, I assume that's her job.
Yes.
Is on the phone to the equestrian. We have to get these two love...
The Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love-sick homosexuals.
Yeah.
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 So then it's like, she doesn't know, potentially, but then why have the dialogue in there?
Yeah, she doesn't know as a character, but you've written a script.
You've written a script where it's like somewhat decent by representation.
What do we say instead? Get these lovesick queers on the phone to each other.
I don't know. Would you have to say anything?
Lovesick boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I just think it lessens the statement of it not being a silent letter.
But she's the president, so that carries more weight.
Yeah.
In her...
And his dad is
by acceptance.
His dad is the champion of gender-neutral bathrooms.
Yeah. I found it interesting that there was no coming out scene to the dad. Because it was very in the script.
That I don't know how it will go.
Uma was like, you have to tell your dad.
Yeah.
And then Alex is like, oh. And
then it's like, so you like him?
Like, geez, imagine...
What's not to like?
Asking someone else to come out for you. Who would ever do that? And then he doesn't tell him.
Yeah.
And then we just get there and he knows. And it's like, you like him? Like, well, yeah. Does it matter if I don't? You're sleeping with him.
Yeah.
And you have been for a year.
Yeah, I've read the emails.
Yeah. Yes.
Not at that point, but...
So...
I think it's good, but...
I think representation overall is good. I think it's another tick in queer story in a mainstream genre box.
Yeah.
Like we've said about Love, Simon, like Bottoms did as well. That's like a pretty mainstream movie with queer kind of stories in there.
Yep.
But it hasn't gone as far as the TV reboot of I Know What You Did Last Summer where every single character was bi.
Or like the TV reboot of Interview with the Vampire, where they are definitely gay. Like there is no subtext.
Not like Tom Cruise might be sleeping with Brad Pitt.
Yeah. No subtext. It's all surtext.
The one of
it's all in capitals and bold.
I Know What You Did Last Summer one though. Like it was just like they don't all need to be bi. Like there was this whole cast. And you just, like, anyone could sleep with any one of them at any time.
Yeah. It's like
Even
Glee.
the sisters. like whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, it was weird. I stopped watching it because it was also not super well made.
Okay.
Out of 5, what would you give it for representation?
I'm
going to give points for it being in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to take half a point off because there's, other than the main two and Miguel, whose only purpose of a character is to try and sleep with Alex, there's no other queers in the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 3.
I'm giving it a 3.5 also. Because I actually think it carries a lot of weight in big mainstream. And this was huge.
Yeah.
Like, lots of people talked about it in reading interviews after. Heaps and heaps of the book and the movie were watched by non-queer people.
Yeah, and I think if then we're transitioning into iconicness.
Yes, we are.
Intentionally. That is getting a sequel.
It's getting a sequel. The book was a New York Times bestseller, which doesn't often happen for queer stories, which is a big step into the mainstream.
Yeah, and it was the 3 weeks after it's released. It was, for the whole 3 weeks, the top watched film worldwide on Amazon.
It really... I actually think this is why I got Amazon Prime.
That's what I read a bit as well. It said this was the reason a lot of people signed up.
Yeah, I don't think I had it before this. And then I was like, I got to watch this movie, Shane. And so we got Amazon Prime.
Pink dollar.
We still have it. Yeah, it is the pink dollar, but I think it's as well, like, because it's in the mainstream. It's a very good movie. It's funny. It's romantic. It ticks all of the, I'm a writer. I can talk about tropes of romance books and movies if you want. It ticks all the tropes of a mainstream rom-com, but does it with a queer story, which is very good. So yeah, sequel coming. Very highly anticipated and well-marketed movie. I think it will... How do you think it will be in terms of iconicness in the future?
I think it'll hold up all right. I think if anything, as people watch in the future, it'll just be like, oh... It's one of these things, I think, where it's like, it is a very tropey rom-com. But
will it end up being just another tropey rom-com eventually?
Yeah.
Will it just be like, oh, should I watch Notting Hill or Red, White and Royal Blue?
Yeah, it'll be just a tropey rom-com. So but then it's that thing of like...
Will that lessen its queer iconness?
But does that matter? Like, we should just be making... Just because it's queer doesn't mean it can't just be a rom-com.
Yep. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
And that's why the guy who directed it, Greg Berlanti... is doing great jobs. I think he produced Bottoms and Love, Simon and this.
Yeah.
So
he's done a lot.
Is ticking lots of queer boxes, so to speak.
Especially in Bottoms.
Galitzine.
Nick.
So
I think it's fairly iconic. I find it iconic that Stephen Fry plays the king and he's like, you can't be gay.
All right, Hermione.
Yeah. What is it?
I do find that good casting.
Yeah.
Because if you just said, we need someone in their 60s to play the king in a comedy, Stephen Fry's on that list.
Yeah.
But then when you go, it's a queer story, but the king's not queer, and the king has to say queers are not traditional.
Yeah.
You kind of, tongue-in-cheek, go with Stephen Fry. And he did it well.
Yep.
He is a figure too. Like, he is an imposing figure.
Yeah.
Because of his height, I'll say. Yep. More other size, but always his height. And he's also just a very funny man. So I'm going to go at 3.5.
Yeah, same.
I don't think it lends...
Mine's just 3.5s overall.
I don't think it lends a huge... No, I'm giving it a 3.75 because I think another big step into the mainstream is a good thing.
Okay, great.
So I'm giving it a half, an extra quarter point because of that.
Yep.
All right?
Cool.
The dialogue. Fuck, the chief of staff is funny.
She gets a lot of good lines.
She is the comic relief while also being a impactful story character.
It's like you have to go over there and sun shines out of his ass and you've got a vitamin D deficiency.
Yep. She also calls him Little Lord Fuckleroy.
Yeah.
And then but then at the end goes, Your Royal Highness, before she walks out. She's very funny.
Yeah. I mean, the prince, I think at some point makes a Barbara Streisand reference, so probably should have known from there.
Yeah, that's true.
We said first 50 rows of a Gaga concert.
Yes.
Not sure. I
quite...
Agribusiness mofos. What? He said, because he's like, I watched your hearing or your whatever to the dad. He's like, you should be harsher with those agribusiness mofos. I'm like, that's just a bad phrase.
Why?
It's just, it sounded weird when he said it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found the cutting back and forth of their descriptions of each other at the start of the wedding good. That was well done. In setting up like it's pre-meet cute, but they all, like in terms of tropes, it's pre-meet cute, but it's also post-meet cute because they actually met each other at Melbourne.
Yeah.
At the climate conference. But then their meet cute probably is actually the cake. But before that, they already hate each other.
Yeah.
So normally it goes meet cute, hate each other, like each other, love.
Yep.
But in this, it's have already met, hate each other, cake, which is cute.
Yep. Hospital.
Then friends.
Yep.
Hate to friends.
Very quickly.
And that's it. Well, that's because normally in the tropes, it would be hate to first kiss.
Yeah.
But there has to be the friends in between because they're both closeted.
Mm.
So that's why kind of the hate to friends moves relatively quickly. And then it's friends to first kiss to 3 or 4 things in the way of them actually getting together. I went on a little tropes tangent.
You did.
My apologies.
The first Alex Claremont-Diaz, Gabrielle Claremont-Diaz was a mouthful. Let's
just tell everyone in this cafe that I sucked your dick. Are you having a wank is a very forward first text message to say, your hand's always in your right pocket in photos.
Oh, yeah.
Are you having a wank is a very forward first message.
Also with that back and forth messaging, and the prince sends Alex thing of like, you do have to be careful because it says he got someone pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And
we were ever so careful, my dear.
And he just goes, bah! I'm like, actually wasn't like laugh out loud funny.
Yeah, it's type
It's
lol.
an SQ, not an LOL.
It's an SQ. Snigger quietly.
Yeah.
I don't think it was even a snigger quietly. It was a type LOL.
It was a...
No, it wasn't. It was
if I got that message, it would have been like...
yeah.
I would have been like, I met class. You know what I mean?
Everybody look at me and you're probably already looking at me because I'm the first son.
Yeah.
And there's a Secret Service behind. I was going to say Social Security. Not it. Secret Service 2 rows behind me. If she's his Secret Service, she already knows he's not straight before she walks into the red room.
Yeah.
Like the first children's Secret Service people are there all the time with them.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah. Also,
Secret Service fail. Everybody should have been out of that bar in Texas for karaoke.
I hated that.
No one should have been in there.
I really didn't like it. Especially when it's like, I'm singing at you in front of all these people.
Yep.
I'm very clearly the prince.
Yeah, because by then I'd even taken my very bad disguise of a hat off.
Yeah.
And it's not like... You might not have seen the prince a lot, but when a boy that pretty walks into a random Texas bar, he's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And you might be like,
Is he the prince? Kind of looks like
Google
the prince.
on my phone.
Yeah.
He's the prince. Oh, sorry,
He's the
microphone.
prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I
don't know if this is a dialogue thing or not, right?
Yeah.
They text heaps. It's
They
all
do.
texting.
Yeah.
Then for some reason, once Alex goes on the road,
His emails.
they email.
Yeah.
Also, you and I aren't romantically linked.
No, we're not.
Which is
That's
appropriate because we're brothers.
Because we're brothers, yep.
But we're still close in terms of brotherness and friendship. If I ever email you, I never say, Dear Brett.
No.
But they're like, Dear Alex. Like, no.
Dear Alex, I was thinking of you today in the spring. Like, no.
Yours sincerely.
You're bulging my pants.
Yours sincerely, HRH Prince Henry. No.
Yeah. Wax
Alex.
of approval.
Yeah.
And then it's like, in that thing, it's like, oh, you have to come to Texas. You'll love it. I think you'll like Austin most especially. I'm like, I don't like that line. You don't have to say most and especially.
Most especially. That works.
No, you can just say, I think you'll love Austin most.
Also, Alex is super dumb to think that he can just, once his mum gets elected, can just
hate it.
walk around Austin with the prince.
Yeah, and then he's like, what's your problem?
He's like, I'm just
So
gonna
I fully understand him being like, you don't get it.
I fully understand him being just like, I'm just going to have to almost drown now.
Yeah.
This is me. I'm done.
Yep.
But that comes back to earlier when Henry says, I can't afford to have you fall in love with me, which at the time is joked off as him being arrogant.
Yeah.
And Alex is like, oh, you're going to assume that I fall in love with you because you're a prince. But as it turns out, he does have to want to keep some distance.
Yeah.
And then, as a trope, the biggest barrier to them being together is Henry's not wanting them to be actually in love because it's too hard to then deny their relationship if they are in love.
Yeah. Also had no idea that princes just had a key to a museum that they could just walk to.
Well, that's also, like, they would have had, well, he's got his aquarium.
Yeah, but they snuck out.
They would have, his aquarium would be like his, what is it? Aquarius? I don't know.
Equerry.
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 Equerry?
I don't know. Ask Sean.
I'm going to keep calling it
I'm going to call him equestrian, and you call him aquarium.
An officer of a prince or noble charged with the care of horses is the old term. Equerry.
Right.
Equerry. An officer of the
So
British...
I'm closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An officer of the British royal household in personal attendance on the sovereign or a member of the royal family. The equerry is what would have gotten him in, the same as the Secret Service. So the equerry already knows he's not straight.
And very random dialogue and thing of Chief of Staff and Aquarius boning.
They will have only met a couple of times.
I didn't know why I said boning. Yeah.
Because it's not the PM's equerry.
No. No, but...
And how often is Prince Henry visiting the president?
So...
Not.
The only time I would imagine is at the dinner.
The PM's dinner. They hooked up there.
Because
maybe in
she
the Red
would have
Room.
been there with the president and he would have been there with the prince.
And maybe they walked into the Red Room and smelt horniness.
Yeah, and just went,
And
hey,
it
you want to
happened.
go? We're both hot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course they're hot. Zach? Sean.
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 The other bit I didn't like with the king, and you touched on it before, because then Stephen Fry was like, I'm going to release a press conference denying, and it's a hack or whatever, and somebody made it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but Alex has already done a press conference being like, yeah, these are true, we're in love, and we're a thing.
Yeah, and you've read that we've done anal.
Yeah.
Like it's in an email.
And we want to do it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that has diplomatic ramifications.
Yeah.
Which I think is one of the issues, which I am surprised, but also a bit glad in terms of storytelling, that Uma Thurman didn't make a bigger thing of that about this.
Yeah.
You have to be careful about this because this has diplomatic ramifications, because there's a huge scene earlier where they're like, we need this deal with the UK to go through.
Yeah.
And if you say something that makes the royal family hate us, it's not going to go through.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do that because she's a good mum.
Yeah. She just asks if you're on PrEP. And you still have to wear a condom.
And would you like a pamphlet? Brochure.
I can get the health
Health department.
whatever their thing is.
They can afford it.
Yeah,
Probably even costs money to get a brochure on HIV.
it's true.
What would you rate the dialogue out of 5?
I'd probably say around a 3.
Not a 3.5.
No, a 3.
It's funny.
Yeah.
There are a couple of moments of dialogue where
There's no laugh out loud funny though.
Uma Thurman speaks very slowly.
Yeah.
And I did have a couple of flashbacks to moments in Kill Bill where she's dying and has to speak very slowly because of the fact that she's dying, which made it hard for me to be like, oh, she's a caring mum.
She dies?
Like, no, she doesn't die, but she
because she
is very badly injured.
Yeah.
Almost mortally wounded. Like, she's meant to be a caring mum, but she just sounds like a vengeful assassin right now.
The clunky bit for me was when it's like, I need you to be realistic so they can be idealistic.
Yeah.
And it was just a bit too many illistics.
Yeah. And Uma, as much as I love her, didn't nail that delivery.
No, I need to be idealistic so they can be realistic.
Other way.
Well, I don't know. Either way,
Yeah.
it sounded like
'Cause
Foghorn Leghorn.
All of them say it both ways.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
This is...
Scoring all right.
But also, my score overall is higher than a 3. So it's going to be one of those ones. Entirety. Or should we do cry first and then just wrap up with the entirety?
Yeah, when did you cry?
All right, there's lists. There's a list. I moistened when they got to 1 million new voters in Texas.
Fucking hell. You cried for democracy.
I cried for democracy. Then I sad cried when Alex is telling Henry to tell him to leave.
Yep.
He's like, I will stay here, but if you don't want me to, you have to tell me to leave. I cried then. Then Alex goes back to London after they're outed.
Yeah.
No, before that. Alex visits London and it's tell me to leave. Then when they get to the plane and
It's like, here's my
Henry
ring.
starts to tear up.
Yeah.
I moistened then.
Okay.
I moistened at Alex's press conference.
Okay.
When
she won the presidency?
Yeah.
Yep.
When Sean hands Henry the phone after they're outed and eventually the call comes for Henry. Mm. And Henry does he looks so sad, like his little puppy dog sad.
Fucking hell. And it's like, hi.
But he looks... It's probably a little bit overacting. But he looks so puppy dog sad that I moistened. When they step out onto the balcony at Buckingham Palace after going, fuck you, King, I'm coming out. And when they win the election.
So a few times?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And a different kind of moistened when they were swimming in Texas.
Jesus.
Entirety. What do you think overall of this movie, Red, White and Royal Blue?
I think it's good. It has its moments. It's not perfect. It's tropey. They do have very good chemistry with each other, which I think is what kind of drives the movie and makes it effective.
Yeah. Well, and that's also what made it a bestseller.
Yeah.
If you're writing a romance book, you have to write to tropes or you won't sell.
Yeah. I did find it went hate each other to like each other too quickly. I got your phone number, so I'm just going to text you.
Yeah, because they had to add in the extra. Yeah. I understand. Yeah.
I also think that Alex is overacting at the start. Like, it's a bit too much.
how much he hates him.
No, the whole like, I don't want to be at the wedding. Oh, he's not 6'2". And then when he's drunk and like, they end up in the cake. It's just a bit much.
It is a bit much. I think Nick's a better actor.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly facially.
Yeah.
Like, there are moments where you can see his emotional reaction to things.
Yeah.
He also actually creates tears. Taylor does not.
Taylor does not.
Maybe they can't get past the eyelashes.
Maybe.
Also,
this movie is not very sustainable. I mean, that people bag Taylor Swift for flying all over the world in a jet. You flew to London just because you were sad.
Can I also, speaking of flying, I'm pretty sure at some point it looks like Prince Henry flies commercial.
What?
It looks like they're like, well, I'm leaving Austin now. And then it just shows an airport and a fairly commercial, normal-looking plane taking off. Like, no. No. His Aquarius has a plane ready, and it's a royal plane.
Yeah.
Maybe it's borrowed from Taylor Swift.
Maybe.
Private jet. Yeah, I definitely think Nick's a better actor. I do think it ticks all the boxes of a rom-com, and it works as a rom-com. I found it funny, and I cried.
I think in terms of it being, like, there's no standout scene for me, though. Like, I'm glad, like we're doing Two Drink Cinema, that I didn't have to pick an iconic scene for this, because it would have been hard.
I got 2/3 of the way through, and I was like, I'm not even looking at the extras.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, no, I don't have to. The most iconic scene probably is either the press conference or their first sex scene.
I was going to say, can a sex scene be an iconic scene?
It can when it looks like that, I think.
Don't know.
It's shot very well, and it's made more intimate by the fact that the way that they shoot it, even knowing that the way they shot it is because of what you can't show of male on male sex in American censorship laws. So if it wasn't for American censorship laws, it probably would have been shot just like any other sex scene. But the way they had to shoot it, I think actually makes it more...
It's sensual. Rather than
sensual
sexual.
And intimate. So it would be up there.
Yeah.
For worst extra. Worst extra is Miguel.
Miguel's not an extra.
Yeah, I just hate him.
The worst extra is, when...
Prince Philip?
When...
Is it the one where...
The friend is... He's talking to the friend being like... I kiss Prince Henry. And she's like, I understand you're bisexual. I don't know if they'd ever had that conversation before.
Yeah.
Because then she was like, how many guys have you hooked up with? And then that girl walks in and she's like, whoa. And then just awkwardly walks in and walks out.
And then the other ones are like, oi, I don't care what the first son's going on with. We've got a fucking drinking game going on here.
We're watching a very important moment.
Yeah, get back out here. We've got a drinking game to play.
So did she know?
She knew.
Like, bye.
She knew.
Then the other thing is when he says, I'm being low-key into guys. I was just like, is that the best way to say it? No.
Well, it's what?
He's still working it out.
Better than saying discreet and only showing your torso on Grindr. He could have shown the sunset over the lake in Austin.
Yeah.
What would you give it out of 5 overall?
Surprisingly...
3.5.
3.5.
I'm going to give it a 3. Surprisingly, I'm giving it a 3.75. So, any final thoughts while I tally up the totals? Let's pretend that Excel just hasn't tallied it up for me.
Yeah, okay. I think it's all right. Like, it's an easy watch. It's got some nice moments. It's good to look at.
Yep.
It's nothing too outrageously special.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Red, White, and Royal Blue scored out of 50 a 35.25.
Oh, wow.
It sits above Boys Don't Cry.
Oh.
But below Pride.
Good. Can we do Pride again so I can rescore it? I feel like I'd give it more.
Just for Jessica Gunning. Stonewall, 16.5.
Okay, great.
So our highest is Love, Simon at 39.5, a point ahead of Birdcage at 38.5. And then at the bottom is Stonewall on 16.5, which I think is actually generous. But
I'd say, can we watch that again? But I really don't want to.
In second last place is a whole 4 points between last and second last at Single All the Way.
Single All the Way.
The queer Christmas movie. Any final thoughts on Red, White and Royal Blue before we go any further?
Nah, it's pretty good. It's all right.
All right. What are we watching next month? Any thoughts?
Um...
There's that one that's in cell A8 that we have debated whether or not to watch.
Okay.
If you go to the movie list on your Google Sheets in front of you.
Thank you. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yeah. You did watch it reasonably recently, didn't you?
Yeah.
We've got a big one that I really do want to watch, but it's scheduled for September because it's the 30th anniversary, and we're working out how we're going to host it live at Pride of Our Footscray.
Yep.
Coming up in September. So keep on for that. Follow us on the socials at 2 out of 3 Brothers, and make sure you've subscribed to the Rainbow Popcorn and or the Two Drink Cinema podcasts to make sure that you can get that done. Can we watch Holding the Man? Jesus. I know I'll cry.
Oh my God.
I know it's not funny, but I want to watch it.
Fine.
And if I'm going to watch it,
Christ.
we may as well
all right.
do it for the
next
podcast.
episode, Holding the Man, sponsored by Kleenex.
Yeah, all right.
Far out. Okay, let's do it.
Holding the Man, Australian.
Yeah.
So we have watched Philadelphia. That was another sad one. At some point, we're going to have to watch Brokeback Mountain.
We will.
I don't know if I can do it. Oh, my God.
You have to.
I've seen it twice when it came out, and I don't know if I'll be able to watch it again.
And now he's dead, so it's even sadder.
Oh, Varley. Thanks for listening to another episode of Rainbow Popcorn, brought to you by Pride of Our Footscray. Make sure you've subscribed and followed us on the socials. Links for everything are in the episode description. The next movie on Two Drink Cinema is coming up, and that is Shrek. And the next movie for Rainbow Popcorn is Holding the Man. Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, Lee.